Jann Arden has a new album out, and so she dropped by the Canadian Country Music Awards Uptown GiftBox Gift Lounge to chat about her highs, her lows, and man, is she funny. This is a reason why I decided to come to Vancouver to do this, is because we knew that Jann Arden was going to be here. And Jann Arden and I have been keeping in touch via Twitter over the last few months.
And it has been a blast. And I keep in touch with Erica's mom.
It's true. At Journey Woman.
Yes, Journey Woman. She's got great travel tips. But Erica and I were talking earlier, and Erica did my very, very first Much Music VJ interview. I think it was like 92.
That's right, yeah.
Which is so frightening. And I was 14 at the time.
I was
and you
7.
were 13. You were 7. But it's amazing how time goes by.
But look at you, more beautiful than ever. And I'm really not just saying that. I'm really not. What keeps you inspired? Because you continually to create not just albums, but yourself. Like, you're so out there all the time. What keeps you inspired?
I think utter terror and fear. I think of just letting myself slip into complacency.
Yeah.
You know, my mom says, you gotta move. You gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds very simple, but my parents never stopped gardening or whatever, thinking, reading, and you know, I sometimes think, is music, you know, is it inspiring me enough to keep going? And I really feel like I do have another decade left, and maybe before I, you know, maybe start writing the same thing over again. When I signed my record deal with A&M, I was 30 years old, so this came to me very late. And I think that makes a difference too. Time is it's the only teacher I think we have. And I always throw myself out there. I think humor is an amazing way to connect with people. You know, I just think to laugh at yourself. And I've made so many mistakes and done so many ridiculous things, but I'm very sensitive. I never want to offend people or hurt people, and I always feel bad if they don't like my music. But you know, I've learned that it doesn't mean that they don't like me. A guy came up to me a few years ago, and I was sitting having a coffee, and he stopped dead on a skateboard and flipped it up. You know how they do that? And he goes, hey, you're that chick. He goes, I fucking hate your music. But he says, but I like you. See ya. And I sat there and I'm like, I don't know if that was the worst or the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just still enjoy it.
Well, your music shouldn't define you. You define yourself.
I think so too.
Yeah. And that's really important. Well, I know you don't really want to shop, but get a pair of undies or something, would you?
I need underwear for my
Dog.
very special date later. And I think it's going to be smashing when I walk into the Gibson guitar party with those underpants and a couple of cinnamon buns on my boobs. And then I can just eat them if I get hungry.
Why don't you have a TV show? Why not a late night talk show?
Well,
why not?
I get asked quite often on a weekly basis about television, and I just don't think I want to be that visible.
Okay.
I can scoot through Costco and get tampons like nobody's business, thousands at a time.
You're the best tampon Twitter.
Oh, I know. My mom says you're obsessed with your period. I'm like, yeah, I am. I hate it. But I think television is such a huge, your visibility just goes up. And I, honest to God, have the best of both worlds. And you can ask my dear friend Chris. I mean, I wander around. If I talk, people will recognize my voice a little bit. But usually they look at me like that. She's too short, or that can't be her. Or I had a woman come up to me a little while ago and say, "Oh my God, you're Ann Jordan." And I said, "Yes, I am. I am Ann Jordan. I know what you mean." But I don't, never say never. Maybe when I'm, 55, I'll run for prime minister if I'm, feeling like I should do something.
Now you talk.